So on to our next one. The preseason being played right now. The season starts October, late October sometime. It's
October 19th.
October 19th.
13 days, I believe.
Wow. So, yeah.
So
It's coming up quick. So, we wanted to go ahead and give you guys some of our underachievers and overachievers. This can be based off of what we saw in the preseason. It's based off of off-season moves. It's based off of the team that we already know that they are. So, we're going to give one in the East and one in the West for both of us. I'll let Don go ahead and give his overachievers, and then I'll give mine, and then we'll do underachievers after that.
Okay, so, my first overachiever in the West, it's got to be the New Orleans Pelicans. My squad. Hey, man, we just got Big Z back, and we're coming off of a year where we took the Suns to 6. It's respectable. Right. Even though we were in the play-in, we won those games out to get out of the play-in against two tough teams in the Clippers and San Antonio. Well, I can't really say San Antonio is a tough team. No offense. But I feel like we got good rhythm. Zion doesn't have to play 50. He could play 50 games, 50, 60. We're not a win without him. That's what I feel like the most important thing is. We have Brandon and CJ there, and then we got guys like Herb Jones. And I think Trey Murphy's going to really have to show I think he is going to show that he's a solid, guy in his league. He got drafted, in the lottery last season for a reason. Then we got a young guy in Dyson Daniels. I think defensively he's going to give us a lot like what Lonzo Ball gave us, defensively as far as guard play over the last couple of years in New Orleans.
Yep.
And did you want me to give the other overachiever in the East? Or
yeah. You go ahead, and then I'll speak on it, and then I'll give mine.
Okay, and my overachiever in the East would have to be drum roll, Atlanta Hawks, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, shout out to the Hawks, man. I'm seeing the improvement. I'm seeing the vision. They finally starting to, show that they actually care about, the city being good again. With getting Trae Young some help. You trade for a guy, DeJounte Murray, a guy that I really like a lot. He was low-key underrated guard that coming out of San Antonio. I think him and Trae Young as a combo, they're going to actually help with each other's weaknesses, like DeJounte's ability to shoot the long ball. I mean, he really don't have to do much of that with Trae. Basically, Trae going to be taking a lot of threes. And I think defensively, when you have a guard like that coming out of in your backcourt, that's a willing defender that can help Trae Young too as well, is it's gonna look way better than it was last season. I think they'll be a threat to top 5 in the East. I'm seeing it as in Nate McMillan. He coaches these guys up pretty well too. I think Trae Young's gonna have another great season. So I got Atlanta overachieving out the East.
Yep, and I agree. On both of them, actually. The Pels are going to look a lot better. I agree. At first, I was kind of hating. I won't lie. Beginning of the season, I was like, and then I started to see, and I was like, Herb Jones, like you said, he looked good. Trey Murphy, guys like that. They got CJ McCollum. Zion's now healthy. BI has just gotten better and better and better. And I think he's going to be a superstar real soon. So, and then, of course, Zion is basically already a superstar, honestly. He's right on the edge.
Absolutely.
All he has to do is literally play, log minutes, and he's there.
Yep.
So, right now, the Pels, absolutely. I would see them as being a top 6, 5, 6. I would say 7 to 5 range in the West. They could break top 4 if they're really doing what they're supposed to. And I think
I say with that, I don't think that they would be looking to do that only because of with Zion. You want Zion healthy in the playoffs more than just having him you guys winning 50, 60 games. That's not impressive.
Exactly.
Honestly, it is impressive to an extent, but it's at what cost? Would you rather have them win 50, 60 games with Zion barely healthy going into the playoffs? Would you rather have them win 40 games, Zion's fully healthy going in? And, I'd rather have that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point because like right now Zion, he's obviously not working on a full workload. Like he's not going to go out there and play 82 games, and me and you both know that, and I think everybody knows that. So I agree. The only reason I say they might break top 4 is if the coaching, Willie Green, if he's able to do something out there like coaching wise and win them a couple games off more than just talent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see it for sure.
But otherwise, like, of course, they're going to be overachievers because I don't think they're going to be in that play-in. Like, unless they're in that 7 spot, they're going to be literally the first play-in team, if that. But I really don't see them in the play-in. And the same thing with the Hawks. I don't see them making that play-in either. And and the thing I can't be happy enough about is the fact that the Hawks didn't get rid of guys that they shouldn't have. Everyone was talking about how they were going to maybe trade DeAndre Hunter or who was it else? DeAndre Hunter.
Bogey.
Yeah, Bogey, stuff like that. And I was okay with Bogey-ish. Capella, I didn't really want to lose unless we were getting another center. Because I like OO, but I still think we need depth. And then at the same time, I like Danilo Gallinari, but to me, he was a piece that he could have gone, and he did go. And he ended up finding a nice spot in Celtics. I hate that he's out for the season, but it was a trade that the Hawks, honestly, in my opinion, kind of won. You get rid of Gallo and you give away 3 first-round picks. Hawks don't need any more first-round picks. Like, look at all the players that the Hawks have drafted in the last few years. Like, I think Jalen Johnson looks like a great player. John Collins, Trey. Now you have DeJounte, who was a was he a first-round pick? Yeah. But you got a lot of guys out there that I think you can really rely on. And so far, it's been looking good. Today, the Hawks played, and they went and played the Bucks in preseason. It was the Hawks won 123-113. DeJounte led the team in scoring, 25 points. He went 9 for 13, so great percentage. He went 0 for 2 on threes. Of course, that will get better. 8, and he's not meant to shoot threes. He's not the best three-point shooter anyway. We have a lot of shooters on this team, and 8 rebounds, 9 assists. And I think that's the thing that I love the most is that Trey doesn't always have to be the ball handler and playmaker right now. He can sit back and just score and be elite at that. And that's what Trey will do. And it will be a lot better at having DeJounte on the side of him, being able to create plays for Trey and stuff like that, because no one's done that for Trey in his career so far since he's been in the NBA. And this dude is barely 6'1", 6'2". Like, you can't have him going out there making everything for himself. Somebody's got to help him when it gets to a point, or else you see exactly. Like, he's been doing that his whole time, bro. And he's like
Oklahoma.
It literally, now, and then you see what happens whenever you go up against more physical teams in Miami in that series. Yeah. He got beat up and his numbers didn't look good because he's literally out there trying to do things by himself with guys that are a lot bigger than him and play hard defense. So I like this move a ton for the Hawks. Like I said, I see them as being at least 5th, 6th seed at the latest. And then for my overachievers, I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit because we talk long. My overachievers, I'm going to say the Sixers and the Nuggets. Sixers, I know you might not agree with that, but I think that I see James Harden playing harder. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. From what I saw, what he did in the preseason, because I saw a highlight and I was like, okay, that's just a highlight. Like, we all know. But, actually going and watching majority of the game, I watched a good bit of the game on a clip on YouTube. James Harden literally looks like he's playing harder. Like, he looks like he's moving faster. His hamstring isn't bothering him as much. He's getting more spring off the ball. He's making his moves faster, quicker. He's not just dribbling around. Yes, he's not just dribbling around and doing random stuff and just chucking up shots for fouls. He's realizing that, one, the foul game is not going to be working as much anymore just because of how they changed the rules. And 2, you can't wait till 10 seconds left in the shot clock to start to do your move. Get into that shot clock, start moving quick, especially when you guys got got guys like Maxey and Embiid, Tobias and everything like that. So he looks better, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest reasons why they get better. And then I'll have another reason later that I'll explain. But it's just, I see them being a lot better this year. If I'm being honest, I see them being better than the Celtics. Okay, welcome back. We're sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty here, but we are back once again with Dawn. We were talking about our underachievers and overachievers at the time, and I was telling him that my overachiever in the East is the Sixers, and he had a few questions for me about that, because I said mostly the reason why is because I feel like Harden is going to be better, but he asked me, do I feel like Embiid can elevate the play around him in order to aid their team in winning and not rather than hindering it, taking the ball away from guys and stuff like that. And I would have to say yes. I think he kind of has to, but we know the type of ball that Doc Rivers likes to coach. He does like to coach a lot of ISO ball, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like he's doing that. It seems like he's being a little bit smarter now, letting guys he did tell Maxey, kind of both actually. I've heard a little bit of both. Because I heard him say in that one practice he was talking about James needs to figure out how to get the other guys the ball shared around and be more of an offensive threat and stuff like that. But then he also did tell Maxey that he needs to be more of an offensive threat as well. And like when he has that ball, sometimes he has to command and let people know it's go time. It's time for me to get a bucket and stuff like that. So both ways, I see it both ways. And to answer your question about Embiid, though, he has no choice. Like they now have PJ Tucker, a guy who can not offensively dominant or doing great offensively, but he can contribute with his corner threes. You now have Tobias, that's most likely going to be coming off the bench, or I'm not sure, maybe in the starting five.
He's probably going to still be a starter.
Yeah, he'll be a starter actually, but so he'll still be a starting five, and he can score whenever is needed. We have all seen what he can do offensively. Maxey as well, and James. So
you got Trez coming off the bench now too.
Oh yeah, they got Trez too. See, like they got a good squad, man. That's why
and they got D'Anthony Melton. So yes, man, I can see they improved the squad for sure.
So in my opinion, they have to be overachievers on this list, and I see Embiid being a main ball handler, but I see Harden being a main ball handler too, and it not going a bad way. I see him being a main ball handler and actually being effective instead of taking the ball away from players who are open or not passing when he's supposed to. Yeah. And like I said, jacking up shots and doing all the crazy stuff, but it just...
Then it's a full year, so exactly. I understand that with chemistry. But I'll say this, I mean... With you saying top three, that means they would have to be better than Miami, which you said you feel like they could be better than. Yeah. But I still don't know if they get over the edge with Miami, because I feel like Miami's a team that's built to basically stop Philly, in a sense of like they're a team that's defensive heavy and they got guys that are willing to guard on the perimeter. And then in a guy like Joel, I mean, of course, you still got Bam down there. He's going to be respectable. Joel's still going to do him. Joel's going to do him. But the thing is with Joel, as long as he's taking tough shots, you can live with that, You live with him taking tough shots. And then if he's taking more tough shots than other guys that are open getting the ball, a guy like Maxey, that's a guy I feel like Philly should have let off the leash last season, but they didn't want to do it because of with Harden trying to get in the mix and stuff like that. So he didn't get to fully get off the leash. But, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, like, them going against a team like the Bucks, Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to scare a lot of people this season. It's hard to put it's hard to put them over Miami because we've seen it like last season.
The teams that I say would be in front of the Sixers, of course, like you said, Milwaukee. I have to put Brooklyn there just because of who they have on their team. It all depends on chemistry, though. So I will put Brooklyn there out of respect of the talent of the names and the people they have on their team. But I could see them also maybe falling back. I'd say, like you said, Bucks, Brooklyn, and then I'm putting Sixers. I have them over Miami. I have them over Cleveland. I have them over the Hawks. There's just, to me, not any other teams that I would see being better than them. Maybe not even, man. Like,
I feel like we gotta respect the Seeds only because, like, even though with Ime like not gonna be it, not being there, I mean,
mhm.
I think the emergence of a guy like Jaylen Brown, I think he's more confident now than he gonna be more confident going into this season than I think he's been going into any season. I think Tatum knows, okay, this is what it takes to get to this level too. I think both of those young guys gonna come out there playing more meaningful basketball, and they're not gonna get
I
themselves down late in the season. I hope they don't. Well, I would hope they don't
And I
early
understand
in the
that,
season.
but to me, when it gets down to, like you said, missing your coach, missing some of your players, like we talked about this. The Celtics have some players who are injury prone. Malcolm Brogdon, Danilo Gallinari's already out. Of course, Tatum and Brown, they're going to do their thing. Robert Williams is going to go out there, and I think he could be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year by the end of the year, honestly. So I think there's a lot of guys out there, and then we saw what Grant Williams is able to do too. So there's a lot of guys out there that are going to prevent them from just like plummeting, but I don't see them being better than the Sixers. And maybe regular season, but the reason why the Sixers will be an overachiever is because I think the Sixers will go deeper in the playoffs.
Interesting.
So like third seed is what I say. Third seed, I still think third seed, but I think even if they aren't over the Celtics by the end of the year in terms of seeding, I still see them going deeper playoff-wise, which is ultimately what makes them an overachiever. Like,
I would actually say the opposite. I would think that Philly would have the better record going into like the regular season, but later in the season, like come playoff time, I think they'd be a worse team than Boston. Because I think Boston, they just seem to know how to get it to click at certain times. They can make these like runs. We've seen it like even the year before Kyrie Irving got there, they found a way to get a run in to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals the year they lost to LeBron in 7. Then, I mean, they found a way in the bubble to also get to the Eastern Conference Finals again. I think they did it last season as well. Like they kind of seem to find a way to get there. So I mean, the young guys know how to win. That's
the only thing that can hold the Sixers back to me, Doc Rivers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If he continues to do what he does in terms of how he runs his offenses and just letting one guy hold the ball and take all the shots whenever it hits the fan, like, bro,
I think Doc is stuck. I think Doc is stuck in the 90s and early 2000s brand of basketball, like the ISO and the hero ballish kind of sense. Like it doesn't work anymore. Like there's too many good guys on these teams. Like you can't hold the ball
Absolutely
in one guy's
not.
hands.
Exactly, and yeah. So I like I said, so I still see them like in terms of seeding. I still say top 3, but overall, the reason why they're overachievers is I feel like
you feel like they'll be better in the playoffs. They'll
get over that Miami hump. Yes, I think they'll get over that Miami hump. Make it at least Eastern Conference Finals, man. At least Eastern Conference Finals. I see that. And now when they hit up against a guy like Giannis and them Bucks, though, or someone like that, or Brooklyn, I don't know about that no more. But I mean. So
that's when it gets real interesting for real.
Exactly. So, but if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that will be better than what they've been doing over and over again. So, after that, in the West, I never got to that one, and I'll make this one really, really quick because there's just not much you can say about it other than what it is. I have the Nuggets. They're healthy now. Like honestly, they went out there and they got healthy. They picked up a few players as well, some offseason acquisitions that looked really good for them. They got a backup center behind Jokic. I'm forgetting who it was.
DeAndre Jordan.
They got DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, so I think that's a good player to have so that when Jokic goes out, you still have that defensive presence in the middle. And then on top of that, you get Michael Porter Jr. Exactly. You get Michael Porter Jr. back. You got Jamal Murray coming. Well, Michael Porter Jr. probably a little bit later, but Jamal Murray seems like he'll be ready for game 1. We saw him out there in preseason already. So this team just has to be better. And if I'm seeding them, the Nuggets always have a crazy record, so if I'm
Yeah,
seeding them, they'll
they could
probably
be
be.
one. They could
Yeah,
be
I was about
one
to
this
say
year.
they could be one, and I'll probably put them once again top three.
Mm-hmm.
Them, Golden State, the Suns, um, the Suns regular season team, but that's something that can be talked about. But so yeah, I have them up there, and I want you to go ahead and give your underachievers so we can keep it
Uh,
moving.
okay, bet. So my underachiever out of the West would have to be the Memphis Grizzlies, and I say this only because I don't see these guys. I feel like they're gonna have that year two slump that a lot of young teams usually have. There will be a drop off. I feel like because it's teams in their conference that have gotten better. Like the Pelicans, that's gonna be a team that they didn't really. Out of the last two seasons, I think they've probably beaten the Pelicans once or twice. Out of their four matchups. So that's gonna be a team I think it's gonna be tough for them to go against. Then you gotta worry about a team in Dallas. The West is I feel like they figured them out a bit. In that Golden State series, teams are gonna be looking. Even though I do think the Grizzlies know how to win games, I think it's a lot of good teams in the West this year that
Mhm.
also know how to win games as well.
I agree. I I don't see them being as good as last year, mostly because they lost some players and they didn't really
Yeah,
get anyone back.
D'Anthony
They didn't.
Melton.
Yeah, they lost Melton. And it didn't look like they really did anything to get anyone to replace that type of defense. And
Yeah,
in my opinion, their defense is solid and they have a pretty good defense, but I just don't see them, like you said, having the same success. Jaw had kind of like a Cinderella year. Like he had a year that like was amazing and he can go out there and definitely repeat. But in terms of that team as a whole being that good, I don't see that happening
yeah,
again. They played a lot of games without Jaw that they won. That, in my opinion, if that happens again, they're not winning a lot of those games. So it's all going to depend on one, health, two, can they adjust to the adjustments that everyone else is going to make after they saw that Warrior series and what it takes to stop them and slow them down? Can Jaren
absolutely.
Jackson Jr., can he elevate his game and get better offensively and not
Yeah.
foul out and stuff like that? So
Fouling out
there's
is
a
gonna be
lot.
the biggest key for him.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things that it depends on. I don't see all of these things going great. I could see them maybe slipping to a number 7 seed, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I would say that's really at the lowest. If I'm putting them in a place, I would say 6, 5, because what?
Yeah.
Suns, Nuggets, Mavs, Pels, I have them over them. Who do we
I'd
just
say
talk about?
Phoenix and
Golden
I'd
State.
have Phoenix and in Memphis fighting for that 6 and 7 spot. Like
Exactly.
which one will take that? But I think they will. There's kind of a lot when it comes to like the 7 teams that's gonna make it. I feel like when it comes to like just making the playoffs.
And I was trying to pull up their. They did get Danny Green. I will say that. So they got
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit
he's
of a.
out right now because he tore
Oh
his
yeah, he
Achilles.
hurt. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
hurt. Yeah, I forgot. But yeah, we'll see if he plays this season. If he does, it looks like it will probably be pretty late in the season then.
Yeah.
But yeah, they re-signed Tyus Jones.
That was a good signing. I'm glad. I mean, you lost D'Anthony Melton. That's another guy.
Yeah.
So like that was a big reason to why they had so much depth to where when Ja
They
was
lost
out,
Kyle
they would win
Anderson. That
games.
was the other one.
And Slow Mo went to the Timberwolves, I believe.
Timberwolves. Yep, exactly. So overall, yeah, like I said, 6, 7 seed for Memphis. And who was your other underachiever?
Underachiever out of the East, the Chicago Bulls. It's a team that I'm actually pretty disappointed in, only because they had a great start to the season last season. They came out blazing. They were looking like one of the best teams in the East last season. Then they started losing guys like Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, and the offense started to slow down. And I mean, Debo picked it up, and Zach was also dealing with injuries last season as well. But I don't see DeMar having the ability to carry these guys again with how stacked the East is. Like, it's a lot of tough teams. It's not going to be easy wins in the East. Like, um, you don't have Lonzo Ball to probably about 2-3 months. That takes a lot of defense, and you don't have a rim protector. That's probably the biggest thing. Like, you don't have a rim protector,
In the East,
and
where a lot of bigs.
yes, exactly. And with that, like, I can see the scoring. Like, it's gonna be interesting. We got two isolation guys in Zach and DeMar, and Coach Billy Donovan saying that he doesn't want them to ISO. He wants it 5 out. I mean, late in games, those guys are gonna ISO. They're gonna ISO. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that philosophy works. And is Nikola Vucevic okay with being used as a perimeter shooter when he's more so a mid post guy that can actually? He was an all-star before, so it's kind of crazy that he doesn't get used and implemented enough in the offense.
Mm-hmm. And I can see them underachieving. I don't think they'll be, in my opinion, I don't know if they'll be much worse than last year. Yes, they did lose Lonzo. Lonzo was out for a lot of last year as well, too. Patrick Williams was out for a lot. You saw Caruso go down for a good bit. We saw just about almost everyone on that team get injured for a certain amount of time, except for DeMar DeRozan. So I don't know how much worse they can get. Even they weren't even a bad spot. What was it, like 5th, 6th seed? So it's like
5th, 6th.
Yeah, they'll probably play in. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I give it.
East has gotten better, man. Gotten better.
8-9. Because at first they were on that same level as a team like
yes.
Cavaliers and Bulls were like right here. They were and then they get Donovan Mitchell, so that's just like that jumps up a lot. Hawks go out, they get DeJounte Murray, so that basically launches them over as well too.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want about the Knicks. Okay, like they might be better than the Bulls. I think that, and it's kind of sad to say, but I think that's the range that they're in right now. So
yeah,
Knicks,
for sure.
Hornets.
They will be a solid team, though. I say, like, out of that group, they will be the best team out of that group.
The Knicks and the Hornets.
Yeah, but
I can agree with that.
I say that because you still got guys, and you got a guy in DeRozan who knows how to win games.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Hornets. Knicks. I'm gonna talk about in a second. But the Hornets, they lost players. Like they lost Miles Bridges.
We don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
With that.
So, and right now, like I don't know. They to me, they got to get they culture together first before they really start to like do something.
Yeah, man. MJ gonna have to start talking to these dudes, man. Something. But I don't see Chicago getting like at their best. I'd say I see them 5. At their worst, I see them playing. Yeah.
How deep playing? Like 10? You think they barely slide?
I was gonna go 8, 9.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm saying 8. 9 even seems like a little bit of a stretch to me.
It does seem like a stretch, but I don't know how, like, with these guys, Lonzo being out, it kind of changes your whole defensive mindset, because you had 2 guards in Lonzo and Caruso that were willing defenders, but you also got the emergence of the young kid, Ayo Dosunmu, and you have a vet in Goran Dragic. So, it's going to be interesting to see, but it's a lot of elite guard play in the East, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, it really depends on like a few teams. Like we said, what are the Hornets doing? What are the Knicks doing? And then I would say even what is Washington doing?
Yeah.
Possibly. So I think Raptors will still be above them. I see that. So right now, I like your 2 underachievers. I agree in total. Both those teams definitely did get worse. And let me give my underachievers. My first one, this is why I kept saying I'd talk about them later, the Knicks. I don't see it. I don't care that they got Jalen Brunson. It does not matter to me. They went out and they paid way too much for him when they could have got a guy like Donovan Mitchell if they literally just bucked up and put some picks and some trays together. You might have had to get rid of a guy like Julius Randle. Does that matter? I don't know. I don't think it fully matters if you're getting a guy like Donovan Mitchell back. And I'm sure the Jazz would have been absolutely okay with Randle. But it's just, to me, I don't see this. And it's, once again, also it's the Knicks. And then I told you this earlier. I may be a little bit of a hater because I'm a Hawks fan. And I like Trey and stuff like that. I'll give that as a disclaimer. But at the same time, like, Jalen Brunson needs the ball a lot in order for him to do what he does. We saw that with the Mavs. Whenever Luka went down, he had that ball in his hand almost the whole game when he was going back and forth with D-Mitch. And then Julius Randle, the year that he was really good, he had the ball in his hand a ton. He had the ball in his hand not way too much, but a whole lot. And it was taken away from guys like R.J. Barrett and those other guys that they had on the team. And then last year, you see that R.J. Barrett, he needed the ball a decent amount to get him cooking. I would say out of them, he needs it the least amount to be effective as a team player, you know what I'm saying, and affect winning. Absolutely. But I still, like, with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson both needing the ball a lot, and then R.J. Barrett's going to need it a decent amount, I don't see that working out unless they figure out some way to run that offense. And do I trust the coaches and the staff over there? Not really. I don't know what they've fully shown for me to believe in them. So the Knicks are my first overachiever in the East. Underachiever in the East. And my second.
I'd agree.
Yeah. See, like, and then I'll let you say,
let's get. You don't have to really talk much long about the. You don't have to really talk too much longer about the Knicks because, it's gonna be interesting to see like what their approach is defensively because you got a guy in Mitchell Robinson who's gonna be that anchor, but you don't really have many defenders like on your roster. And Tibbs is a defensive coach. You got a lot of talent on offense, but Tibbs has shown he really don't coach offense. He don't really coach offense. So, that's going to be the more important part is, like, how to use these guys. I don't think they'll figure that out in 82 games. So, they won't be – I don't see them being a threat either.
I see them maybe fighting for a play-in, honestly. They might be at that 9-10 spot. Like, we said 8-9 for the Bulls. I think they're 9-10. And they could surprise us, but I don't see it. My second overachiever. I keep getting that mixed up. Underachiever. Timberwolves. The Timber Pups. Was the Dev always that? The Timber Pups. I don't see that. I don't see it. Like, Rudy Gobert, like, that is in terms of fit for the team and what they need, that's a good addition. And they got Kyle Anderson, and that's a good addition too. But we talked about this earlier. There's a lot of guys on that team that can fold. And I could really see it. I could see absolutely Karl Anthony Towns folding. We saw him fold multiple times before. It wouldn't surprise me. We've seen Rudy fold multiple times before. Defensively, great. Offensively, a complete liability at the free throw line and when it becomes late game because it almost becomes like, I don't know if you can keep that guy in there right now. And then D'Lo, to me, he's here and then he's there, and it's just up and down. And D'Lo's just inconsistent in general, so that's the reason why he would fold. I don't think his folding would be anything different from what we know D'Lo as. Honestly, is kind of like a streaky scorer and a guy who can pass the ball. Yeah. So he would have to be more consistent, and I don't see him doing that. So I don't think that team is going to be much better than where they were at last year. I see them once again fighting with the Grizzlies.
I can definitely see
the Clippers are going to go over them. I think the Pels, they'll be in that range. They'll be Grizzlies, Pels will be in that range with them. Yeah, I think it will be around there. Grizzlies, Pels, and then Timberwolves will all be in like kind of a fight right there. And that would be, I would say, top of the play-in to like maybe the 5th seed around that area, like 5 to 9, which is a big range, but that's a lot of teams I just named. So I don't see them, and I honestly see them coming in below all of them. We saw the Grizzlies be able to take out the Timberwolves last year when Timberwolves have, in terms of talent, a better roster, honestly. So I don't see Nah, the Timberwolves are not going to be it. Like I said, 8th, 9th seed. Ant will be a great player. He will show out. I have him. Spoiler alert. I have him as my most improved player on my way too early awards. But other than that, I don't see the rest of those guys doing much. Like,
I got a question. What do you
mhm.
see Anthony Edwards' points per game going to? Because he's
What
gonna
was he
have to
at last
score a
year?
lot. I think he went
And that's
to. I think he was at 23 last year, close to it. 21, 20. I think he was at 21.9, so close to 22 points. I think.
I can see him making that jump to 26, 25, 26.
I think he'll have to do that a lot because I definitely agree with you. With the Gobert trade, they gave up a lot of assets, and I think with
Yes, a lot of picks. Like,
you gave up guys that really were, I say, a big reason to why they were so good last year. You had guys in like Vanderbilt, Justin Vanderbilt, Jared Vanderbilt, excuse me.
mhm.
You had guys in Malik Beasley, who's coming off the bench scoring well. Patrick Beverly. The picks, I mean, you can't really say that affected them per se, but they gave up guys like Juancho, Hernan Gomez. He wasn't really playing much, but I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. I do think that defensively they'll be better, but offensively they will struggle because I don't see how you can play your lineup late game with Cat and Rudy Gobert on the floor at the same time, especially against teams that play small ball. Um, I think it's going to be a lot of teams out the West that give them so much trouble when it comes to guarding the perimeter. Like a team like Golden State will,
Mhm.
they're going to have their way with a team like that because
They're gonna
neither
run
one of those
circles
bigs
around
can
him.
defend. Exactly. Neither one of those bigs can defend good enough on the perimeter with a team that's free flowing and they're moving with the ball like that. Those guys are going to get lost.
Yep, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're gonna run circles around him. They're gonna have Cat's gonna be out there winded. Cat's a big man that can move, but he's not in terms of
Yeah.
conditioning. I wouldn't say he's gonna be able to keep up with anything like that. And we already know
No.
Gobert's definitely not keeping up with that. So yeah,
Absolutely not.
I don't see them being a top team. Like everyone wants to hype them up to be. They did have some good additions, so I'll hold out and see. But in my
Yeah.
opinion, no.
Yeah, I got them going 5, 6, well, 5 to 7 range. I don't think they'll be bad enough to make the play in though. Like,
Yeah.
only I say that off of the fact that Chris Finch, that's their coach. Chris Finch, he's a pretty good coach. I mean, I like the game plan. And the games that they have played against New Orleans, I've seen that he can guard. He knows how to guard guys like Brandon Ingram, guys that are great scorers that like to get
Hmm.
going from the mid-range area. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they play this season. Defensively, I think they will probably be the one of the better defensive teams in the league, just off the fact of having an Anchor and Rudy down there. And I think Anthony Edwards becomes more of a willing defender this season too.
Another reason why I have him as my most improved. So we can move
Yeah.
straight into that, our way too early awards, and then we can make this super quick. MVP, I have Embiid. Um, I don't have much to say. I kind of told you that this is part of the reason why I think the Sixers will also be overachievers. I see Embiid going in there once again. First of all, they're not giving it to Jokic again. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
There's been too many times that they've done that now. John Morant's going to be up there. Of course, Luka's going to be up there. Tatum might be up there. Guys like that, but I just to see Embiid coming out having a dominant season, putting his foot down, realizing that hey, I got to be the anchor of this team. I got to do things the right way, get my points when I can, not jack up shots, play a cleaner game and a smarter game and a better defensive game as well in order to make the Sixers be the team that they want to be, especially now that you got a guy like PJ Tucker and James Harden and went out and got Trez. These are guys that want to win. They're not going to play around when it comes to losing. They're going to make sure that
Yeah.
you go out there and you play hard. And I think they're going to put that word in Embiid's ear that, like, this is your season. Go out and get that MVP. Like, so.
I can see Joel for sure, but I'm gonna go with a guy out in the West. Hey man, we already know this kid's name, man. Luka Doncic, like Luka Magic, for real. This guy, man, he's
Luka's
next
special.
level. Yes, he is next level. I tell you, like the clinic, I already know he's gonna put on a crazy clinic this season, but I think the wins will come too, just off the fact that like I don't think I've seen a guy probably since like LeBron, honestly, that's like that young and can lead his team like that with ease. Like he's winning games that like he should not be winning. And then I was thinking like just years of like the last two, 3 seasons we've seen this guy in the playoffs. This man's been incredible. He's been out of his mind. Like I don't think we've seen a greater playoff start to someone's career than Luka Doncic. So I feel like he's gonna show it in the regular season. He's got something to prove going into the year. They still haven't given this man an MVP yet. So I
Yeah,
think he's gonna be like, yeah, I need that.
it's a matter of time. It's really a matter of time with Luka. I agree. I don't know about this year because I feel like I don't know if their team's going to be good enough overall for
Yeah.
them to give him that award.
But if the kid comes out with 38-9, it's hard not to give him that.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't not give him that. Yeah, you can't not give him that. And Luke is ridiculous, man. Like you said, we've never seen anyone like him be able to put a team on his back and carry them to wins like he has, except for LeBron, like in the recent years at least.
Yeah.
Like, he is literally just like, and it's year after year after year consistently. And that's what makes the difference. We've seen guys who have carried their team for one season or maybe one playoff run, but this man is literally carrying his team for consecutive years since he came in as a rookie. That doesn't make sense. Like, and bringing those Clippers teams to 7 games 2 times in a row, being able to go out there, beat the Jazz when they have D. Mitch and Rudy Gobert, which they should have been able to get by them, and then pushing getting past the Suns as well. Like, I don't know what else you say, man. And then pushing they even pushed Golden State a decent amount for him being really the only like star or guy that you can consider a star or above on that team. So Luke is ridiculous, bro. If I'm going to go ahead and give my most improved award, I said this already. I think it's going to be Ant. Even though I have them in my underachievers, just the way that team is built, like we talked about, he's poised for a team for a year that he's going to explode. It's going to look a lot better than what he was doing the years before. He's going to have a chance to get a lot more shots. He's going to have the chance to play a lot more offensively. And then even further after that, he's going to be able to not have to do as much defensively so that he won't look as much as a liability on the defensive end when you have a guy like Rudy Gobert that you can funnel stuff to. So
I like that.
I have the Ant up. I have the Ant up there. I have Ant up there, and I wanted to give the actual odds on here because I thought this was kind of interesting. All of my players that I have on underachievers teams are the top odds players. The top odds for most improved. Number 1 is Jalen Brunson. Tied with him is Ant. Third is RJ Barrett. I thought about RJ Barrett. That situation is weird to me. I didn't even consider Jalen Brunson, but that is a good choice. Fourth was surprising to me. They got a little bit further down the list is the guy who I actually had second was Cade Cunningham. But I'll let you go ahead and give yours.
Most improved this year. That's an interesting one. I got a few guys that I think are going to win. Well, that could win most improved this year. I mean, Zion could win it if we're talking about most improved. I mean,
what? He like
the kid hasn't played.
How do you improve off of not playing?
Hey, we've seen it. They gave it to Ja Morant. I don't think he last season. I don't know how the NBA does this with the most improved, but I wasn't gonna say Zion.
You got a point.
But in terms of who I think could be the most improved player this year, I might have to go to kid Davion Mitchell out of for the Sacramento Kings, man. I think that he's nice like that. Like he had a very good season like last year, and then later on in the season, he was really going. He was getting it going. I think you hear his name a lot more this season. If Sacramento starts to make some more noise, they got a young squad, but I think Davion Mitchell, he's definitely a candidate that people should be watching out for this season.
Okay. I did not expect that. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know who I expected you to say, but last season, Davion Mitchell, 11.5 points, 2.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists. He did get a lot better near the end of the season. Looking at his advanced stats, his numbers, yeah, they really jumped near the end of the season.
He became a starter near the end of the season too.
Yep, exactly. That's what it was looking like. So I give you that. I don't think that's a bad choice, honestly. By the month of April, he was playing 39 minutes. He started off the season playing 27, and then by then in March, he had hit 46% shooting wise. Threes weren't looking great, but I know he's also a kid who plays a lot of defense. So I think that's interesting. I had to mark that in there. You're gonna end up on TikTok for that one. So we're gonna see. Yeah. We're gonna see what people think about that. I think that's an interesting one. I didn't even think about that. You slid that in there. Yeah. You got that off.
Yeah. I was just trying to give the young bull some love too. Like, I mean,
I feel that,
but I feel like he really can win Most Improved this year though. He a hard worker too, so that I feel like he could take off for sure.
And on the Kings,
yeah,
how much do you got to do to look
exactly?
Like, you know,
I'm saying you can put on a show on the Kings this year, and exactly. But I don't know if they're gonna give him the love because he's in Sac Town. So I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
But look out for him. If y'all playing fantasy basketball this season, for sure, y'all might want to look out for him, man.
Mm-hmm. And defensive player of the year, this might be a little bit of a surprise. I got Bam. I put Bam Adebayo. I feel like Bam
I think it's about time, too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got to lock in, man. If you're not going to contribute offensively the way you need to, like we saw he didn't really do in the versus the Hawks. He did in maybe one game versus the Hawks, but they're just better than the Hawks, so they got by. He didn't do it enough against the Sixers, and I think that's really the reason why. I mean, they got by, but once again, they weren't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't moving the way that they wanted to. So right now, I would have to say it has to be Bam, because like if you're not going to contribute offensively, you got to lock in defensively. You got to be absolutely shut down. You got to go out there, make guys like Embiid be quiet on a night that you're supposed to. You got to go out there, lock a guy like Giannis up on a night that you really need to get that dub. So I see them getting in his ear, letting them know, yo, this is your time. You got to contribute defensively, get those blocks, really lock in. Don't be the guy that controls. We've already seen that he can switch perimeter. He can play mid-range. He can play the center position and be a rim protector. So all three levels right now, I have Bam.
I feel that. That's not a bad pick. I like that pick, actually, for sure, because I think he's the anchor on that Miami Heat defense. He's got to be the guy, you know. And then the fact that with Bam's ability to switch on defense, I think it doesn't get talked about enough. Like, as a big, he's able to get out there on guys on the perimeter. A guy like Steph Curry, he can, you know, hold his own within his own right, you know, if he gets put in a switch isolation situation. And I feel like defensively, I mean, I'd say he don't got a limit, you know, defensively, like on his potential could be. He don't have a limit. But my defensive player of the year is going to come from, I mean, I want to say it. It's going to come from a guy in Phoenix, Mikal Bridges. I mean, this guy, bruh, he's a crazy wing. Like, defensively, he's active at all times. Like, even when you think he's not active, he's active. I want to say Herb Jones so bad. I caught myself, though.
I know you do. I know you do.
But I'm not going to fan out.
I was like, this man going to choose all Pels for awards?
No, I'm not going to fan out. I'm going to definitely go Mikal Bridges. I mean, last year, I feel like he should have won it then. But they gave it to Marcus Smart, which I wasn't opposed to. But I think Mikal wins it this year just off of his defensive ability. And this guy is a steal addict. And he can block shots. He can really do it all defensively. I think Mikal Bridges takes that award.
He holds down the Suns' defense in a way that people don't really recognize, honestly.
Yes.
Like, he really is their top defensive guy, locking down the best player on the court
night.
Any given night.
Every night.
Any given night. And people don't pay attention to it. And then offensively, he's nothing to sleep on as well.
For sure.
So that helps as well. I think that's a great choice as well. Rookie of the year. I feel like we probably got the same answer on this one. It's too easy at this point. Like,
thinking Paulo?
I'm going Banchero.
Oh, yeah, Paulo.
I'm going Banchero.
Yeah.
I was watching him play in the
he looked like a
preseason
man
so
child.
far.
Like, He already
Like,
looked league
it's
ready.
too easy.
Yeah.
It's way too easy. Hitting threes, driving to the rim, putting it on top of people's head. Even we saw a little bit of mid-range, which it looks like he might be trying to work on a little bit more too. And then defensively, he's a big guy, very shifty, can move laterally quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else is going to be. The only other guy that I kind of argued with was Keegan Murray.
Yeah, I like him.
Like we said, Sacktown. So
yeah, I don't see anybody in Sacramento getting an award, but I just wanted to throw it out there because. But I mean, yeah, Paulo for sure. I mean, he just looks so polished already. It's kind of crazy. Like he got a league body already versus like a lot of these guys like Chet, Jabari Smith. These guys got to grow into themselves.
Skinny.
Yeah, these guys little. Yeah. You got Keegan Murphy. Even I say he got to grow into himself a little bit, but Paulo looks league ready. So I think he's gonna put Orlando on that back, and I mean they're not gonna be that good, but they could definitely. I could see them trying to fight for a play-in spot. I could definitely see them trying to fight for a play-in spot. They're gonna be interesting to watch as long as he's on the floor for sure.
For a play-in spot, that's kind of
as in like that 11 spot, like 10 to 9, 10. Like they could be around that.
Yeah, I can see.
They could try to fight. Like I don't see them winning the fight, but they could be in that.
They could be in that conversation for the year.
Yeah,
like they get close near the end. I agree. So that's it for basketball. Super long.
Absolutely,
we went way longer than we said we would. But I'll probably have to cut this episode up. That would be fine though. We can cut it up. Those first two segments, Draymond and Victor, and then I can do Underachievers and then way too early awards. We'll pause and then we'll be right back. I'm probably going to subtract one of these things from here so we just don't go another 2 hours again. But so, yeah, I'll take out grading our fantasy teams.
Say less.
Yeah, I'll take that out of it. And then I'll probably take out some of the Would You Rather.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned, and we're going to talk fantasy football and NFL.